The fog-laden streets of Victorian London concealed more than their fair share of secrets. And on this chilling night, the city bore witness to a murder most foul. The victim, a wealthy merchant named Reginald Thistlewick, had been found lifeless in his opulent manor. His eyes wide open in a haunting stare, but it wasn't the murder itself that sent shivers down the spines of the city's residents. It was the unmistakable, otherworldly aura that clung to the crime scene as news of the gruesome murder spread. The people of London whispered of malevolent spirits and vengeful specters that walked the night. They sought solace in the tales of the spectral detective, Jonathan Steele, a man known for navigating the realm between the living and the dead. A man who had become a legend in a city that harbored its fair share of enigmatic mysteries. Jonathan Steele was summoned to the scene by the London authorities. He arrived at the Thistlewick Manor with an air of somber determination. A man who had stared into the abyss of the supernatural and lived to tell the tale. The manor was an opulent but oppressive place, with dimly lit corridors, ornate furnishings, and an air of opulence that now seemed to be tainted by an evil presence. Reginald Thistlewick's lifeless body lay in a room adorned with symbols and incantations, their meaning obscured by time and purpose. Jonathan Steele approached the crime scene, and his keen eyes observed the eerie atmosphere that hung like a pall over the manor. He had encountered vicious forces before, but this was unlike anything he had experienced. A force that sought not just to end a life, but to harness its essence in a supernatural ritual. The detective meticulously examined the room, the bizarre symbols etched into the floor, and the haunting remnants of a spectral disturbance. He couldn't deny the otherworldly aura that clung to the manor, nor the unsettling whispers that echoed through the corridors. In his quest for answers, Jonathan Steele delved into Reginald Thistlewick's history, unearthing a dark secret that had long been concealed. The merchant had been involved in forbidden occult practices, and the symbols in the room were associated with a venomous entity known as the Soul Harvester. It was said that this entity could steal the souls of the living, leaving behind nothing but empty shells. The detective's investigation led him to believe that the Soul Harvester had been unleashed by Thistlewick himself, an evil force he had tried to harness for his own gain. But the ritual had gone awry, and the entity had turned on its master. With this knowledge in hand, Jonathan Steele set about attempting to contain the Soul Harvester and prevent it from claiming more souls. Armed with incantations and relics, he ventured into the spectral realm, a place that existed between life and death, where the evil entity had taken refuge. In a spine-tingling confrontation, the detective faced the Soul Harvester, a shadowy, amorphous force with an insatiable hunger for souls. The battle was intense, and the line between the living and the dead blurred, as Jonathan Steele harnessed his spectral connection to confront the malevolent entity. As the confrontation reached its climax, the detective used his knowledge of the occult to ensnare the Soul Harvester in a binding spell, a prison of its own malevolence. With a final incantation, he sealed the entity away, preventing it from wreaking further havoc on the living. The manor, once steeped in dread, began to shed its maleficent aura. Jonathan Steele had successfully contained the otherworldly force, bringing an end to the supernatural threat that had terrorized Victorian London. As he emerged from the manor, the people of the city looked upon him with a mixture of awe and gratitude. The spectral detective had once again traversed the realms of the living and the dead, emerging with its undeniable supernatural element, had been solved, and the city's residents could rest easier, knowing that Jonathan Steele, the detective who defied malevolent forces, walked among them, a guardian against the eerie unknown.